Aiden Lax.
Hey,
Sir, can we get a picture? Or are you the invisible man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
How do I put...
Crusade against the people that don't have pictures.
How do I choose a picture again? Oh,
Step
God,
one,
it's
Cameron,
down.
just shut it
awesome.
down. Okay. Really not the best DM I've ever seen, personally. Not trying to be rude, but, I mean...
Alrighty.
But all you have to do, Kyle, is when you have your character sheet open on Fantasy Grounds, if you just click the empty portrait on your character sheet, it'll open up a new thing. You click folder on that, and then you can just copy and paste whatever picture you want into that folder, and then it'll let you select it from Fantasy Grounds.
I can still hardly believe, even though I hate cats, I'm playing one.
You're playing a kitsune?
Hey.
No.
Spoilers much?
Okay, everybody is
My
like
portrait.
destroying the frickin'... Your portrait is you. It's you smiling.
No, on Fantasy Grounds.
Child trouble. See, this is why... Oh,
We're
Cameron's in the land of death.
Oh,
Want to say I was the first here with you? No!
there we go.
No.
We were in the wrong one. I just joined because that's where you guys were at. This is the one that's hooked up for...
What even is that chat up there?
That's
Get rid of her.
I can... Yeah. Hey,
What?
Yes.
Excuse me?
What is going on?
stop going to the other one.
I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
We were in the wrong
We've had
one,
some-
and I just realized that I had started the stream like 3 minutes ago, but we were all in the wrong voice chat, and so the stream wouldn't have been able to hear anything.
Oh.
That's par for the course.
Okay, yes.
So,
it's because it's a new campaign. That's why, or I guess
Right.
a new/intermediary campaign.
an
Right.
interlude campaign.
Yes, an interlude campaign. I like it. Am I not able to make this channel not allow people in it without the... I'll just delete it. It doesn't matter. We can make it again if we ever need it. There. Voice channel deleted. Now there's no confusion.
Sounds good. Sorry. We had children troubles. Loretta
What?
had a rough time going to sleep, and then Loretta threw a fit because we weren't going to make popcorn. So, hashtag
Okay, that is the best thing to throw a fit over. Popcorn is the
What?
best snack.
popcorn was
Let's do kettle corn.
All right. Well, to any of
All
our
right.
viewers who may be confused, we are actually doing something tonight, and we are having an interlude campaign hosted by our good old friend Cameron. So, all right.
hopefully
At this point now,
I'll last
like-
here more than like 2 sessions, right?
Yeah, hopefully it'll last more than 2 sessions. All right,
Please.
now I'll try not to DMify things. So, Cameron?
Okay, everybody that doesn't have a picture, you will be penalized in game for your various roles and such until you get a picture.
Wait, do we need the Discord then? Like,
No, a picture in the... What is that? What? Aiden Lax is a woman.
Who's Aiden Lax?
I believe that is,
Kyle.
Kyle?
yeah, Kyle.
Okay.
Kyle.
Aiden
All
Lax
right.
what?
Aiden lacks
Taste?
self-esteem.
So, I mean, with a picture like that, I can understand why.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna see
All
if I
right,
can
why don't we
make
go
this-
ahead and let's get started. Are there any announcements or things that people want to say before we get started? No? All right.
Just want to give a thank you to all my adoring fans.
I'm out there for you. I'm one of your adoring fans.
Let's see.
Although I'm kind of sad I don't get to see your beautiful face,
Oh,
but I still adore you. There we go. All right, well,
Um,
see, all right, that's better. Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's get started. And actually, we are going to get started with um, Octavius.
oh,
So, Octavius, I want you to describe yourself, but before you do, I want to paint you a picture. It is the week before the king's death. The city of Lindorn is one of light and of splendors. There is wonderful merchants that go throughout the town. It is the epitome of technology in the region. It is a place of crime, but it is also a place of extreme and utter opportunity. Opportunity that you are one of the greatest partakers of. Some of your abilities may not be as well received in any other city than the city of Lindorn. And it is here in the Silk Bone Theater that you are the person who helped to craft the theater, the person who helped to found the theater. And it is in this theater that you find yourself today. You find yourself up in one of the high boxes as you observe one of the most recent renditions of your most famous play, The Virtuous Woman. It has the play has reached its climax, and as you look out, you remember the words of this play because you wrote it. In fact, this was the part of the play that gave you the most trouble. And as you look out into the audience and into what the stage direction and what the theater has done, you see the fulfillment of every dream and every luxury you would have ever wanted this play to actually be. You see that they have taken the time to make the rafters look to be the inside of someone's chest. The very bones of the ribs seem to crisscross the very ceiling itself, and the red light that backdrops the ceiling gives this sentiment, this feel of pulsing blood. As you see in the center stage, the two main actors, you see the woman whose name is Christine, and you also see the man. His name is Octavius, something that you had put yourself into. This was someone that you remember that you had put, you had built this character from your own experiences. And as you had placed these two, as you remember writing this scene, they've built up a cliffside. And the cliffside faces the audience. And you see how at the top of this cliffside, Octavius is holding on to Christine, knowing deeply of her betrayal. And he holds out the pendant, the one that she had given him, the one that has spared her life from a bullet. In fact, the bullet is still lodged in that one heart-shaped pendant. And as she hands it to him, a showing of her faithfulness to him, she whispers, "Do you remember? You said, by all means, follow your heart." And he stares at her with darkness. And as he takes the pendant, he holds it above the cliff and says, "You're right. By all means, follow your heart." And he drops it. The pendant cascades down, the light following this pendant as it hits the ground. And this is the moment. You wrote this. You remember these words, and you remember this moment perfectly because it's supposed to be ambiguous. It's supposed to be, does he push her? Does she slip? Does she choose to fall, to follow her heart? It happens fast, and she slips, and she falls to the ground. The opening of the theater absorbs this woman deep into the ground beneath. And she's lost from the stage, and there's oohs and ahs and gasps as she falls beneath. Consumed by the darkness, no bit of her is seen. Then something happens. The actor, improv. And there's this bit, there's something. This was your moment. And he says, "My lady, it is with your blood that I shall rebuild, and I shall make anew." And he walks down the cliff. Your blood boils. This was your moment. You wrote this. You are the one who made this theater for this moment, for this play. Oh, dare you. With that, I want you to describe yourself, Octavius.
Standing out of his seat now, looking down at the theater, at the cliffside, at the blood-stained curtains, or rather, the appearance of blood-stained coloring, and glaring, peering into the very mind of this foolish actor who would so disgraciously twist my creation into his partially. You see a catfolk with dark eyes, with a almost silvery glint to them. Patches of black on the top and back, but white in the front. And his clothing is very showy, very gaudy. Not sure if it's just a very thick cloth or a very thin leather, but the stitching, the threading, is a pattern in itself. Very stylish. And rosebuds adorned in the upper chest and the shoulder pads and around the waist. And he stands tall, with a very intent look in his eye. His anger turns into very clear decisiveness.
Tell me, what do you do?
I head towards the backstage area.
You go backstage. As you go down the stairs, this is one of the only theaters in the area. There are a couple more, but they're more outdoor amphitheaters. This one has had the wonderful addition of a woven wall, and you know that pieces of the wall have actually been built so that they act almost like silk on command. And they can be moved and torn and parted as needed. And as you come down the stairs, you find your way into the backstage, and you see that people are preparing for the next scene, as people are looking to find what the search party for Christine has begun. And you see in the corner, you see the actor. You know that his name is Lamont, and he's quickly taking off. He is taking off some of his clothes and putting on his next clothes for the next act. There are people buzzing around back and forth as they are getting ready for the next scene. They're moving. The stage hands are moving this massive cliff that they built off stage, ready for the next act. You know the timing perfectly in your head. You have probably about maybe 45 seconds until the next part is supposed to begin.
Octavius reaches for the knife hidden in his clothing, but then he stops, and a devilish smile slowly forms across his feline face. And he approaches Lamont, and he begins slow clap applauding for him.
He turns and he says, "Oh, Octavius, I didn't know if you'd be coming tonight. It's the close of the theater festival. It's an honor. I've always, after seeing it for the first time, I knew I wanted to play this role, and here you are, the writer and the inspiration. How did you think of it? Oh, will you be back after the play? I'd love just to talk to you about the inspiration that you had for this character."
Well, of course. How could I not be here and admire my work, my creation, and your part in it? And everything here is absolutely spectacular, marvelous. Yes. And you? Why, there are great things in store for you, Lamont.
What do you mean?
I appear I'm the first to hear the great news. There is an agent of sorts. He's taken interest in you, and after seeing your great work here, why, he would like to talk business, if you will.
Really? Absolutely. Whenever. Absolutely.
Well, he's only in town for a short time, but I would be most pleased and proud to make the arrangements between the two of you. Are you free later this evening, perhaps?
Absolutely. I was I was gonna meet with my co-star for a bit, but this doesn't come around very often. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, your co-star, a female, perhaps?
Yes, Candace, the Christine.
Tell you what, I think if you could be in the best mood possible, all the better. You meet with Candace. Tomorrow night, we shall arrange your meeting with this agent, and, well, good luck.
Okay.
Oh, break a leg. Where are my manners? I apologize.
Of course. Thank you. You see this wave of just relief as he kind of sits back. You get the sense that he realized kind of in the back of his head that he had forgot his line and had to improvise. And he feels this sense of just overwhelming relief at your words. It's about this time that there's a scream from behind stage. And the lights go up. And what you thought was something that you would get revenge on an evening that was supposed to be perfect, exactly as you imagined, now becomes even worse. The lights go on, and someone yells, Who was manning the beds beneath? Who was supposed to be down there? And they start. There's a rustle. There is the person who mans the theater comes to the front and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, there's been an event. I'm so sorry. We would ask all of you, please, to leave. Someone has died," and you can see he's panicking. And he says, "Come back tomorrow for free, and we will, and you will see the conclusion of the virtuous woman." And you see there's some groaning and some a couple people get up and leave, but overall there's a little bit of an element of resistance as people are getting up. And backstage, someone comes up from one of the from the kind of not crawl space, but from the under theater, carrying the body of Candace. And you see as she's brought in, it's very obvious that when she fell from the height, something wasn't right, and she is dead. You see her body is mangled. Blood is just pouring from various places where you see severe compound fractures, and her neck is twisted.
Octavius, if the body happens to be close enough, when it passes by, he actually reaches out and, asks to examine her. And he brings his hand along the side of her hair. Takes a moment to just kind of have a moment of silence. Nods to the person carrying her and lets them continue.
They leave. And as they leave, you see Lamont, his face of shock. Moments ago, the relief that he felt as his hand shakes. And he looks at you and he says, "Pushed her. I pushed her. Did she slip?" And you see him just kind of stand up and runs out into the side door that leads out to an outside alley. What do you do?
First, I do this with my hands, and there's a bit of blood on it from Candace, I assume. Mm-hmm. And I quickly cast a spell.
What do you cast?
I cast Blood Biography.
Ooh. Tell me a little bit of what that does.
Yes. So, Blood Biography, I learn the answers to a specific set of questions about the creature, so long as I have access to at least one drop of its blood. So if the creature is neither living nor undead, there's no saving throw needed. I just cast the spell.
Okay, awesome.
So it answers, who are you? What are you? How was your blood shed? When was your blood shed? And when I cast the spell, it goes onto a surface, which I designate whether it has to be a flat surface, whether a wall or a piece of paper. So I actually pull out a book, and I open up to a blank page, and I let the words apparate onto them.
Perfect. So give me each question, and I'll answer each one by one.
Lovely. Who are you?
It says that her name was Candace, but in parentheses it does say Christine.
Lived the role, didn't you? What are you?
It says that she is an elf.
Yeah. And also a gender, profession, role. Those things can also appear if applicable.
Mm-hmm. I would say, as you're kind of looking at this, some of the things that you kind of gleaned, and this could be both a mixture of your own impressions, but also a mixture of even her perception.
Yes.
You would have seen that she was known, at least around the city, as one of the best versions of Christine. That she really embodied the idea of what you had written. This was one of the she had truly taken the moment to embody that role. Absolutely.
She truly was one of the greatest. How was your blood shed?
As you read it, it comes up murder.
And in Octavius's eyes, he goes from this bit of sorrow to some strange form of excitement at seeing that appears the answer. And the final one. When was your blood shed?
This one is a little bit cryptic, and it says, when I told him. You get the sense that she believed that her blood was forfeit, or her blood was shed, when she said something, or she mentioned something. That her life had already ended at that point in time. That this was merely the event of her death. But it had already been predetermined.
Octavius closes the book, and since he is in the backstage area and he has a knack for these things, he very quickly disguises himself into a non-catfolk. I guess that would probably require the use of Disguise Self, the spell, correct? Yeah. So he does that.
Okay, where do you go?
And then he goes out the exit that Lamont went out.
Okay. You see Lamont is standing by a series of trash cans refuse, and he is just, you can see that he had just finished emptying his stomach and has his hand against the wall as he stands there shaking.
So Octavius, now being a non-catfolk, he's definitely going to speak differently. He's going to take on the guise of an older human, a little affluent looking. Oh, my dear boy, I've heard the news. It's a tragedy of the real kind, isn't it?
He looks up to you and he can't even talk. You can see that his, just the emotion has welled up. His eyes are, puffy and almost sealing as he's just breathing heavily.
I'm sad to say this isn't the first time I've seen something like this in the business. Things happen, and you mustn't blame yourself if that is what's going through your head.
He kind of nods silently. It looks as if he's hearing what you're saying, but he's not really listening. He's almost just like zoned out. That sense of, I don't know what's going on right now. And, like that idea of, is this a dream or not?
Well, 'tis a pity, and these things need time, but I wanted to speak with you, Lamont, because your performance out there was truly amazing. And as sour, as tragic as this death is, I cannot let that overshadow what I felt when I heard those words projected from that beautiful mouth of yours. You have a gift.
As he looks up to you, his voice goes hoarse and he says, "And by her blood, we will build our city anew. And by her blood, we will ascend. And we will live." And you realize these were the words. This was what he should have said.
Ah, yes. And he takes out the knife and stabs him right there.
Okay. He buckles, and in that moment, we're going to take a moment out of the city. We're going to zoom out from the theater, from the bright stone area. And we're going to go over to Dominique. Dominique,
Yes.
I want you to describe your character, but with the understanding that you're out of breath, that blood is in your mouth, on your hands, and on your side. And more than that, confusion fills you as you run through the darkened streets of the Crowsfoot district. Describe yourself.
Oh, well, can I send a picture?
Yeah, absolutely, please.
Okay, because I'm not very good with descriptions. So
That's okay. And like, if you want to, just you can describe what you're feeling, what you're thinking. If you want to just show us a picture and describe what the picture looks like, or if you just want to send the picture, that's fine. Whatever makes you happy.
Okay, so she looks like what I just sent, but with hair that's more red. I just couldn't find something else that's more like I envisioned. I might have put it in the wrong place. It's in the King is Dead game chat, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, it's not showing up for me on my computer, but I sent it on my phone, so that might be why. But that is what she looked like, obviously based on your description of what's going on, much more disheveled. You said I had blood in my mouth and
Yep.
had a lot of confusion.
Yep. So you have blood in your mouth. You feel around your side, and you feel where the knife cut into your gut. You feel the warm blood slowly cool around your fingers. You don't know how long you've been running. You don't know where you're going. You know Crow's Foot, but you don't know where you are right now. And you start to feel yourself in shock. And something inside the back of your mind says, you have to keep on running. You have to keep on running.
Well, in that case, I would keep on running while looking kind of desperate. Would my raven be around me, I'm assuming?
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. That took a minute to load. Did that not roll?
No. No, it just took a second. All right, perfect. So as you look into the sky, you do see kind of floating maybe about 20 feet above you, the dark figure of the raven against the night sky as it follows you and goes in between several of the various overhanging areas of Crow's Foot. Crow's Foot is a sector of lots of kind of lower to middle class merchantry. It is also a place where people would call the slums. There are various places where the walls and the almost shantytown-esque pieces of this district have almost leaned into each other, and you see very many places where there are tunnels and arcs, not because of that was intended to be built that way, but because people have tried to fortify and stabilize sinking and falling and crumbling structures. And it's through this maze-like terrain that you run and that you feel your feet take you, even though you don't know where you're going. But your raven darts in between these places, keeping up and to some extent going ahead.
Okay. Well, at least knowing the ravens around, I'd probably be a little bit calmer, but not much. But I would still be running, I suppose. You said I didn't really know where I was despite knowing the Crow's Foot. Is all that description that you just gave, would I actually be aware of that in the moment then, or I'm assuming not?
I would say that there would be definitely a sense of almost disassociation where you recognize that I should know where I am, but like everything seems, maybe it's the darkness, maybe it's just the shock of the situation, but something has really has struck you, and you feel it's more of kind of being attacked in your own home. That feeling where you feel like this was a place of safety, not because it's a safe place, but because you knew how to navigate it. You knew where to go, where to avoid. And it's almost a sense of failure to some extent because you feel like you did something wrong. Something happened. What happened? Make an intelligence check for me.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm 1 for 19s tonight.
As you turn around, as you look around, seeing if they are following you, you hear your head, your consciousness, your understanding, your incredible wit tells you to stop. Your emotions calm, and you realize you know where you're at. You realize what happened. And you think back a second. You think about the old man. You're in the alley. Seemed innocent enough. He's just a beggar. Just asking for help. Then you saw it. Symbol. The damn circle of the flame. He reached out and pulled you down, gutting you. You screamed as flame erupted from your fingers. And then you ran. Something tells you he's not dead. Something tells you he's still watching and looking for you. What do you do?
See if there's anywhere kind of obscured for me to get to collect my thoughts, and if not, since I'm aware of where I am now, I would try to think of the safest place to get to quickly, either for some help with my wound or somewhere public enough where I don't worry too much about another attack.
Okay. Go ahead and make a. You can either do a knowledge local check, or you can do a knowledge. You can do knowledge local check or stealth check. Your choice. Stealth check is going to be you trying to hide, potentially ambush him. The knowledge local check. What? Oh. The knowledge local check is going to be more for you navigating the city, finding a safe place. Basically trying to escape to some extent permanently.
I do knowledge local.
Okay, go ahead and roll for me.
Ouch. 17.
Perfect. You look at the cross streets and you realize that there is an old medicine woman around here. Her name is Liliana. And you know that she helps at all types, that she has this uncanny ability not only to read people, but to help them. She's someone that you have gone to before, that you feel safe with. And you hope she's still home. She's only a few blocks away. You break out and run. And you hear behind you there's more. Someone yells. Through the darkness, you realize that you have been the only one on these streets. And someone yells down through the darkness and says, "You are tainted. You are unworthy of that gift that he gave you. You will be purged." His voice echoes across the alleyways. And the eerie thing is that nothing else follows, no other sounds, as you run. You find yourself through a series of alleys. Eventually, you find a corner. It's almost a dead end. And you squeeze past these two buildings that have kind of arced in such a way and tipped in almost a perfect balance, where you have to, almost at a diagonal, slip through them. And you come through another alley and into a more open area. And as you come in, the wonderful smell of flowers greets you. And there, at the edge, the very end, kind of butted up against several other houses, the other houses are the back of the house, there's a singular door And then on the door is a simple sign, something that looks to have been made not by a professional, but someone who just simply wanted people to know. And on top is what looks to be a motor and pestle that has been kind of painted on this sign. And as you run up to the door and start knocking furiously, you know this is the home of Liliana. You knock on the door, and after a few moments, it opens. You see an old, elderly woman. She greets you and brings you inside. She presses her hand against the door as you enter. You don't know what she does. You don't know what it is. But you feel as she closes the door, no one's getting through. You lay down, exhausted. As you look up, you see that your raven made it in with you. You don't know when you lost her, when you lost sight of her. But that gives you peace and comfort as you slowly drift off to sleep, as Liliana's perfect, keen hands start to patch you up. Let's move on to Iona. You're in an office. It's your office. The night is still young. You're relatively new to your appointment, and the office space that you have, the desk and the walls, still feel bare. As you sit, you have the window open. As you let the breeze come in. You've been troubled lately. You've been hunting, and it hasn't been successful. Your partner's been out for a while, and you're waiting for him to return. Waiting for news. Good news, hopefully. As you sit, your eyes drift back between the various broadsheets, looking at the words written, the descriptions, the people, looking for connections. The door opens. You see enter a man a human with gruff hair, salt and pepper. You see lines that are deep set in his forehead. Most of his hair is gone, but he still has little tufts on the side. He looks distinguished. And you know that underneath his loose-fitting clothing is a man that is extraordinarily well built. As he comes in, he lays a tattered gray cloak on one of the chairs and sits. He breathes deeply and says, I don't have any good news. In fact, it feels as if things are worse as ever. There's 2 deaths tonight. The Silk and Bone Theater. I spent half my time there. The girl slipped, fell. They're investigating one of the stagehands. It's looked as that it's an accident. Someone didn't put up the mattresses and the pillows to catch her when she fell. It's stupid theater. Always doing stunts like this. They always care about the form, about the art, and not their people. How many accidents have really happened there? lead is found dead just right outside the side door. So, spent half my time there. By the time I got to the actual site, nothing. Just same calling card. We have to get him. The spiraling of blades. I know you are the captain, and I have full faith in you. This is 17, though. 17 people have died. I'm not frustrated at you. I'm just... What do we do? And he turns to you. This grizzled old officer looks at you, both with this sense of the last glimmer of hope that he's holding on to, and hoping that you have the answer. What do you say, Iona? Erica?
Yes, beautiful.
Hi. Aren't you Iona?
I am. Sorry I didn't
Oh.
hear my name.
Oh, you're good. No. So he's talking to you, Iona. And what does he... How do you respond?
Sorry, I was distracted a little bit. Could you say that?
Yeah. Sorry, my voice is getting tired. So he came in and sat down, basically explaining that there was a call for the Ivory Soul to go and investigate 2 deaths at the Silk and Bones Theater. And by the time that he got to the actual site, where you, what sounds as if where he was investigating another death from the spiraling of blades, he explains that he was there too late, that all he found was the calling card. And so he's looking at you saying, I don't know what to do.
Let's close off this scene and try and find any links to who might have done this.
Okay.
I want you to search all the exits and make sure you have a list of who was here.
Okay.
Alright, dismissed.
It's going to be another long night.
Always is.
He gets up and looks at you. There's something in the look. Go ahead and make a sense motive check.
Alrighty. Give me the sweet. I look deep into his eyes and try and see what's going on. What does he look like?
As you look into his eyes, you see something. He lied to you. You look at his hands. You see small burn marks. You look at his face.
Do the burn marks match what is on the scene?
No, you would actually recognize the burn marks. You'd actually recognize this very well from a type of drug it's highly acidic, but it's almost like an acidic sugar that people will pull from a glass tin, and they'll rub against the back of their gums. And people who are addicted are known as white teeth or sweet eaters, partially because the drug will eat away at the gums to the point where all you see is the teeth. And you get the sense that he didn't go to the second site because he was high.
High on duty. Why are you high on duty? I want you to clean yourself up, and if I ever see you like this again, then you are not going to be here. Do you understand? Can you guys hear me? Oh.
He nods, and he kind of sits back.
You only get one warning for this. You decide your career.
He sits up and
Now go to the second site and do your job. And if there are any problems, I will know about it.
you see him nod slightly. And as he walks out the door, you see him grip the handle tightly. And then walks out. You notice that he's left his cloak there, though.
I'm gonna look through the pockets of his cloak.
Okay, go and make a perception check for me, please. Okay. As you search the pockets, you see in the lining of the coat is it looks like it was sewn up, and it's sewn up recently. You kind of pull a little bit at the string, and it unravels. Looks like it was done hastily. And as it unravels, you see between the seams of the coat or the cloak is a note. And you pull it out and you unfold it. And it says, Sanitarium, 1 week. That's it. What do you do?
I want to just think of what I know of this man and who he normally associates with, to try and see what it has to be about.
Okay. Go ahead and do a knowledge local check. To some extent, I feel like this is you're relatively new on the force, and he has been someone who's been to some extent a mentor, but also to some extent this is more an element of what have other people said of him, and what do you know of his reputation? Yeah,
Okay,
go ahead and make
I got 9.
Okay. You know him by his reputation, which has been, that he was an ex-Grey Cloak. In fact, he was one of the only Grey Cloaks that got out alive. That he actually got special accommodation by the king at one point in time. You know that he was an exceedingly great fighter at one point in time. You also know that people say that when he was with the Grey Cloaks, he didn't keep to the code. Instead of just protecting the secrets, he looked into them. And people say something looked back. and he's never been the same since. That's what you know.
So he already has a bad character witness statements. I'm going to... I look around and see if there's any other people in my force.
As you go through the building, it's late. There is one other person. She is kind of a mousy little halfling, and she is sitting in one of the rooms that you hold for evidence, and she's aligning a lot of different symbols and things like that. And she walk in, she looks at you, and she says, "Oh, hey, Captain. So I was thinking, this might sound really, really stupid, but I have an idea. No one on the force really knows Thieves' Cant. No one knows, like, well enough how the clasps get around. And so, one idea is, let's send someone undercover. Maybe me. We send someone undercover just to learn their secrets, learn their sources, and maybe we can, get a little bit of understanding what some of these things are. Because honestly, this just, a lot of these things have me baffled. I mean, half these symbols look exactly the same, but they mean completely different things. And I've been compiling all the notes that we have from Warren Haas, and honestly, I don't get it. How does he do it? Why is he targeting so many people? Why is it ramping up so quickly? I'm just trying to be helpful. Sorry. You know this woman to be Shauna, and she is, despite her, what she lacks in stature, she makes up in an immense amount of enthusiasm. And she has been intentionally kept off of the streets because of the concern of her, either a concern that the city is going to eat her alive, or concern that she either concerned that the city is going to eat her alive, or concerned that potentially what she'd do to the city would be irreparable. It's a little bit of a mixture of both. But in all truth, there's that feeling that if you let her out, you'd be worried that she would either want to come back the same person, or she'd be dead.
That makes me feel sad.
But she's really earnest and really wants to try.
Shauna, evil has its ups and downs, but we always think that it's ramping up. But so will our efforts to fix it. I believe we can do good in the world. Not to worry. But I do have a question for you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if one of our, if I knew somebody was in our force, might be divulging information, would you have me follow them, or would you have me let it play out, or just straight up fire them?
I feel if you fire them, it's just going to push things along. If he's divulging things, we need to find out who he's telling. And I think that you need to find out, really, because if you fire him and he goes into hiding...
And who do you think would be the best person for the job?
Well, I mean, They made you captain for a reason, right? You can sense there is an element of idol worship there, where she thinks the world of you. She looks at you and she looks at your wings, and she's like, I mean, without you, I think the Ivory Soul would have been lost. You're like our angel.
I laugh. Fallen angel, maybe.
Maybe, but I think if we let him go, and she looks at you, and there's this sense of she understands who you're talking about. If we let Sean go, and he can disappear.
Then, if I knew a meeting place and time, would you have me try and stake that out? Where they're meeting somebody?
I think that if you wait until you go to the meeting place, it might be too late.
Okay. Then I'm going to have you decide who can follow Sean, and I want you to follow them and keep tabs on where he's going and who he's meeting up with.
Okay.
So I want you to report back to me whatever information you find, and I want to make sure that you guys are smart about following somebody in our own force. So of course they're going to know how to see if they're tailed. And I don't want anyone going alone without somebody else knowing where they are.
All right, I'm on it. And
Okay.
she stands up, and she, like, with this excited sense, and then as she stands up, she instantly tumbles over again, over the mess of things that she made.
Okay. You are in charge of this. You are not the person following them, by the way. I need you here.
You see her deflate slightly, and then she's like,
That does not mean you'll have no opportunity to help with it, but you are needed here.
okay. I'll go get Bixie.
Thank you.
And then
I'm going to do a sense motive check and just kind of be like, can I trust her?
Yeah, go ahead and make a sense motive check.
Although I've already trusted her, so it's a little too late.
Nice. If there is anyone honest or earnest on the force, it's probably her. To some extent, almost to a fault.
All right.
And she wears everything on her sleeve as she walks out the door of the administration.
Wait, I say her name. Please
Shauna.
keep this, Shauna. Keep this under wraps. I only want you and maybe one, maybe two other people knowing. And I want you to trust them with your life. Because it's not good to be following other people in the force around. And I'm saying this in a whisper, not trying to get any attention called to myself. Okay. You be careful. You do not divulge to anyone but me. Okay. And you do not gossip in the halls. I know you're excited.
Okay.
Keep it under wraps.
Okay.
Thank you.
And she excitedly walks away. All right. Let's go to Rand. Actually, sorry, before I do that, I didn't give you a chance, Iona, to describe what you look like. I apologize. Go ahead and tell everyone what you look like.
I have long white hair. I look a little standoffish, but in control. I have a scar on my face. I am muscular, but slender. I carry a great sword on my belt, and I have kind of dark clothing on, just to make sure I look a little where I can go into shadows and not catch attention to myself. But I do anyway because I look like a commander, which I am. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's go to Rand. You find yourself cold. But this isn't abnormal. You're used to taking on undesirable jobs. You're out on the coast a bit. You're up north of Brightstone. There's a moored ship up there. One that's been moored for a long time. So much so that it's become almost a home. The ship hit part of the landmass and tipped and almost, has now, over the course of the couple of years, has almost merged with the ground itself. The various barnacles and sea life have, to some extent, almost been interwoven with this ship that is half out of the water and half in. And this place has become, to some extent, a home away from home for some of the most undesirable people in the city. If ever there was a place where a dark deal would go down, if ever there was something that was unseemly, it probably has happened here at least once or twice. As you swim, you find your way to the ship. You've been silent this whole time, barely making a ripple. And as you make your way up the side of the ship, you notice that there are a handful of people, about 3, who sit around a makeshift fire that has been a fire pit that's kind of been built in the center of the ship. As they sit down, you hear them whispering amongst each other. And as you stand above them, your dark cloaks, your clothing melding with the darkness of the area, you look down and hear them talking. Rand, as water drips off your face, describe yourself.
One.
Parley, are you there? I can't hear you.
So there's the picture. Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, I gotcha.
Yeah, so there's the picture there. As you can see, sharper features, definitely. The short, dark brown hair and the scar on his face. And for his clothing, it would be not like a noble's clothing, but it would be very nice, very, very practical clothing that's kept in very good shape, that looks very nice. And he has a long, dark brown overcoat that he wears, but it's not buttoned up. And I believe that is about it.
Okay, perfect. So, as you stand above them, you remember your charge. These had stolen something very important. And they were not to escape. These were people you needed to take out. They had taken something very important. And it was bad enough that there was no discussion, no negotiation. How do you approach your task?
There is 5 men.
3.
Oh, okay. And I'm sorry. Can you describe exactly? So we're on the ship, yes?
Yep. So the ship has been turned basically on its side. Half the ship is beneath, half the ship is above. Now, let me go ahead and actually bring up a picture of it. Now, that might be able to help you a bit. Give me one second.
Thank you.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Oh, it should be here. I apologize. I should have just had it ready, but children are fun.
No, you're good.
I swore it was in here. Oh, there it is. All right, let me go ahead and share this. And let me go ahead and make that a bit bigger as well. So, part of the ship is underground. Part of it is up. Part of the ship is underground. Part of the ship is above it. But it is in such a way that it is perfectly balanced. People have been going in and out of this without issue for years. And deep within, kind of at a slant, or not deep within, but kind of outside one of the cabins, it looks like there's been a place where people have, very commonly have built makeshift fire pits. And you see 3 people are kind of sitting around the fire discussing. You are probably a good, I would say maybe 20 feet above them as you sit on one of the overhangs, one of the masts, effectively kind of just watching them, hiding amongst, the rotted masts or the rotted sails and, your own natural stealthy abilities kind of hiding you up above.
And I have word that they have stolen something extremely important.
Yes.
Do I happen to know which one might have it on him? Is it like a small item, or is it like in a case beside them?
You know it's a small item. Go ahead and make a perception check to see if you can suss out which one has it.
Okay. Did you see that in Fantasy Grants?
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay, perfect. So as you're looking above, the darkness does make it a little bit hard to see, but you do see that they kind of pass it around between each other, and it's kind of gone back and forth. You've tried to track it, but periodically you lose track, as they also are kind of sharing what looks to be an evening time meal as well. But based on your best guess, there is a larger one. Looks like he has kind of a patchy beard. You see where there have been burn scars all throughout his face, where there are basically the facial hair has tried to kind of grow out of. And he's probably a good maybe 6'5", heavy set, but powerfully built. He looks to be probably the leader of the group as he kind of sits and has a bowl full of porridge and kind of just sifts his hand into it and starts eating it.
Okay. Can I? So he's sitting down, I assume. Yeah.
Yep, all of them are.
Okay. May I? I don't exactly know how covert weaving is as to how it looks and sounds, but is there any way that I could weave maybe the 2 people around him? Could I weave like the soles of their shoes like into the wood, so that if they try to like stand up, they'll be they won't be able to like they'll have to take their shoes off pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I would say that you'd probably want to get a little bit closer. So go ahead and make a stealth check first for me, and then go ahead and make a craft check or a weaving check. Okay. Awesome. And I'm just going to... Okay. So as you go up behind them very slowly, you're probably about maybe 10 feet from them, and you press your hand into the wood. And part of your hand almost sinks into the wood, and you feel almost every atom, every molecule of what it is and what it would be and what it could be as it wraps itself around the shoes of both of these people. You feel them become anchored to the ground.
Perfect. I will pull out the glass bottle I have. It's opaque. You can't really tell if there's like liquid in there or not. But it looks like a finer bottle. I'll pull that out. And then as I'm just about like 15 feet away,
Mhm.
I'll just speak up, mainly trying to address the big guy and say, "Cough it up."
He stands, his girth kind of heaving as he gets to his feet. Knew they'd send someone. No place in no place in Lindorn is safe anymore.
Oh,
You don't even
please!
know
Why do
what
you
this
think
is.
I'm here to hurt you?
Of course you're here to hurt me. I know who sent you.
Oh yeah, who's that?
The Bloody Clasp. They run every little game in town. And it's people like you that's the reason why. What? We take one of their shipments. What's this even worth? And he holds up a tiny little vial, probably about the size of a finger. What is this? They have what? 6 men? 6 men to defend this? I lost 12. What are you guys doing? What is this?
Listen,
So yeah, I think
again.
you're gonna kill us.
I will unbuckle my sword, and I will set it on the ground. I told you, I come in peace. I'm not here to hurt anybody, not unless I have a good reason to. Now, I was hoping we could share a drink, and I will unpop the cork on the bottle and start walking towards him. I won't make eye contact with him. I'll be looking. Did you say there was a fire?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, then I'll just have my eyes on the fire, just like to put him at ease.
Okay. Go ahead and make a persuasion check for me. Okay. Kind of eases down. Says, "You are. They did send you, right?" This little bit of doubt kind of creeping into his voice.
I don't work for the clasp. I'm an independent third party, you could say.
Kind of sits back. Says, "Fine. What do you want?"
Well, the item, of course. And I'll give him a warm smile as I take a drink from my bottle.
Listen. This doesn't leave the city. No one even knows what this stuff is. Aren't you curious? I know you got your orders. Hear me out. Clasp, the Grey Cloaks, they're the only ones who know or even have an idea what this is. And here, we got a vial of it. Blood has been spilt for it. So, find out what it is. Tell them you killed us and spilled on the ground, but it broke. This is a city of secrets, and honestly, I'm sick of it.
I'm sorry. Did he say that he knew what it was, or
No, he doesn't. He said no one knows what it is. He thinks the Clasp and the Grey Cloaks know what it is, but he says, none of it has ever made it out of the city.
why is it so important to you?
Honestly, because I have friends that died for it. I mean, we thought we'd raid a Clasp transport because we thought, hey, you know what? If they've gone to the work of whittling out and kicking out and taking out and absorbing any kind of opposition, it's got to be important. It's got to be something. What are they taking? What are they transporting? And where does it go? We know what happens when it comes out. We know when it leaves the sanatorium. You know what happens. It gets sold. What is it before?
It's what? Sorry.
What is it before?
Haven't you looked inside the vial? At least taken a sniff, at the very least.
Not yet. We were just talking about it. Trying to decide if it was poison. Trying to decide if it was... I don't know.
Well, pop the cork on the thing. Give it a whiff.
Okay. Pops the cork. Smells it. This look of sheer just confusion comes across his face. He smells it again. Looks at you and he says, "Smells like flowers." What is it? He hands it to you.
What's the color of it?
As you look at it, it kind of has a deep purple look to it, but the purple almost shifts to almost a crimson periodically. It almost kind of has this shifting nature to it as it kind of circles and mixes in its vial.
Do I have any familiarity with this? Like, do I know if it seems similar to just like another drug that's being passed around, or
Go ahead and make a knowledge local check. Nice. So, you know for certainty. You've been in lots of different circles. This isn't a drug. In fact, you're kind of mystified a bit, like him. You don't know what this is.
and it does smell like flowers, like you said.
So, as you're gonna take it,
Yes.
okay. As you take it, you get this weird sense of dissociation. When you touch something with the intent of changing and weaving it, there's this feeling that you can utterly warp the world around you. As you touch this, you almost get the sense that it's trying to do the same to you. I need you to make a will save for me, please.
Oh,
Wow.
That's really good.
Nice.
As you hold it, the scent of flowers is powerful. You kind of bring it away from you. And you know in that moment, you know what this will do. You have a choice. You know for a brief moment, if you drink it, there will be no limit to what you can weave. But you're worried that you may not be able to control it. But you have that choice. You can give it back up. You did succeed your save.
are you saying that if I did imbibe this, I would be able to voluntarily dismiss it? Or
If you didn't imbibe it, you would have essentially, you would be able to weave without restriction for a short period of time. You do not know how much control you will have if you did imbibe it.
see. I would look away from the vial, and I would look at him. I know what this does.
You know it. You know what it is. You are of the class. Okay, what is it?
No, smart guy. I just now figured out what it does.
What does it do?
Trying to think of how to phrase this. It makes the potential for weaving unlimited.
It's a little bit of a... You've got to sit back a bit and look at each other. Can people use it to learn how? Is this how they train people?
No, this certainly isn't how they train people. And I don't think that this would last for very long either. Who knows how much control you'd even have? You'd be like a forest fire.
He looks at the others and he says, there could be a place other than Lindor that weaves. Like what they consider, what they buy it for. He looks at you. You see an element of greed in his eyes. See his hand slowly move to a knife on his side.
The big guy?
Hmm?
I'm going to pretend to not notice him, but I'm going to smash the bottle into his face.
Okay. The bottle of stuff, or the bottle that you had in your hand already?
My bottle, not the
Your bottle.
the drug.
Okay. So, okay, you're gonna smash those. Let's go ahead and make an attack roll for me, please. Oof, nice. Without error, and without him even realizing it, you slam this into his face. Go ahead and make your damage roll.
Sorry, didn't have
You're
any
good.
dice in there. And he is flat-footed, yes?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Then I get a free CMB against him. I'm going to blind him.
Okay, awesome.
But
Yeah.
as I smash it across like his eyes.
I was going to say, as you smash it across his eyes, you see the glass actually digs into his eyes, and he screams, and he stands up, and he moves around in these wide arcs, and his hand pushes against accidentally against this brazier of that they set up for the fire, and the coals in the fire go across this the ship and the old rotted wood. Go ahead and make a D100 roll for me, please.
How do you do that in Fantasy Grounds again? I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I am not too sure either. Why don't I go ahead and just do the roll?
Sorry,
Oh.
got it.
You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully the area is still pretty wet, despite the rotted wood, and the flames kind of bust out and are, there's a bit of, there's a burst, but eventually they kind of settle themselves. They don't really ignite at all. Okay. Are you going to do anything else, or are you going to go in full attack mode?
Okay, and what about his goons? Are they still too caught up in the surprise of the situation?
I think they right now are still surprised. I would say that you would have, to some extent, either an attack, or you could potentially intimidate them or persuade them to stand down.
And I'm sorry, real quick. Did he say that this was being made at the Sanitarium?
No. He was saying that essentially the Sanitarium is one of the places where magical items come out.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
So he's putting pieces together.
I will grab the cork for the bottle while he's like writhing in agony, and then I'll look at his goons and just make an intimidate.
Okay, go ahead and make your intimidate roll. Okay, they kind of stand down. They see what you're doing, and they've just lost a whole bunch of friends, and you just came and just totally, in a single blow wiped out their boss, and so they're standing down. Are you gonna do anything else?
I will go and retrieve my sword,
Okay.
and then I will leave with the package.
As you leave, diving back into the icy cold water, the three of them sit on the edge of the boat, contemplating who you were and what this means for them. I appreciate everyone's patience with me as I go through everyone's introductions. I hope this is interesting for everyone. Everyone a little more deeply.
I'm loving it.
Good. With that being the case, let us go to Sa'ana. You're in your chambers. They're lavish, although a piece of you finds that odd. Maybe not wrong, but odd. You sit, and the room is immense, fit for someone of your station. You're awakened by a knock at your door.
I make a perception check. Do I hear anything that might indicate how many people there are, or if there's any additional movement, shifting, or if they're just standing still? Let me get to
Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay, 23.
Nice. So, as you sit up, you pause for a second, your ears attuning to the area, pausing a second, looking, waiting. As you're looking around, why don't you describe yourself for me, and then we'll get into what you see.
Yeah, so I guess right now I wouldn't be wearing my full getup, but I have, let's see, I'll just put a picture in. It's the same picture that I have here, but I'll put a larger picture and do that in here 1 second. So I've got long white hair. I'm an elf, long white hair. My ears stick out there decently long for an elf. And I keep my hair tied back for the most part, but most of my clothing is tight-fitting and a little bit flowy, but not so much so that it would restrict movement. And it's mostly light blacks, or what I wear on the underside of my clothes. I would stand up and I would grab my dark blue robe and walk to or cloak, not robe, my cloak, kind of get my clothes in order, and I would approach the door.
Okay.
May I help you?
As you approach the door, you're not going to open it?
Yes.
On the other side, you hear a kind of deep, rough voice saying, "Mistress, someone has obtained something unjustly. Someone has attacked one of our transports."
Do I recognize the voice?
You do.
Is this someone who I would normally meet face to face, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know him and you meet him face to face.
I would open the door, putting on the rest of my regular clothing and grabbing the rest of any personal effects that I would need with me at the time.
Okay.
And I would step out. Details. Where?
As you step out, you see him. There's a brief moment where he snaps his fingers, and this doesn't take you by surprise, as a darkness kind of surrounds you and him. You see a man with salt and pepper hair, with a gray beard. He's kind of has a little bit of a bald spot on top. He has a little bit of hair still in tufts around here. He's well built, and is wearing and you notice at this point in time that he's missing his gray cloak. You know this man as Sean. As he looks at you, he says, "I just got word. One of the shipments was attacked, and they took some things of great interest to the king."
How do I know
What do
this
you
man?
do? How do you know this man?
Yes.
You would know him as someone who, you would know someone who has worked with you to some extent, semi-closely.
In what regard? Who does
He
he
has-
report to, and what's his responsibilities?
Someone the king has relied on quite heavily, and I would say to some extent, a lot of your respect for him and his reputation comes from the king itself. And so there's an element of, because of your station and because of the king trusts him, you trust him as well. You also get the sense that he has because of his history and because of how the king has talked about him, as well as because of his stature as a Grey Cloak, that not only is he a man who has kept secrets, but specifically he has kept, the king has entrusted him with some specific secrets. Go ahead and make a sense motive check for me.
Yes.
I would say this is not the first time that you've met him,
Sure.
or the first time that you've worked with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be
probably
more
a good-
gathering based on the current circumstances and whatnot.
Yeah.
23. Or, sorry, 17. It didn't update fast enough. Okay.
You're good. So, he is fairly earnest. At least right now, there's an element of he's a bit hard to read, partially because there's a mixture of earnestness and you kind of also get this behind his eyes. You're not too sure what it is, but the main things that kind of stick out to you are that earnestness.
Do you have any idea who it might have been?
Honestly, based on reports, it was a group known as they called themselves the Bloodletters. But they were kind of bigger time. About maybe 3-4 months ago, but
With
they
a
were
29 knowledge local check, have I heard that name before? Do I know anything about the Bloodletters?
yeah. Funny enough, so what you get from that, they got their name from a play. Weirdly enough, there was a play in that came out, maybe about a year ago or so, called The Virtuous Woman, and in the play there was a group of people who assembled after the death of the titular character, and their goal was to both purge as well as they had a goal of kind of rebuilding things for the better. In the story itself, the Bloodletters weren't entirely an evil people, but they weren't essentially good either. Misguided probably would be the best description of them. But you would know, or that you would know instantly that this is where they got their name and potentially some of their goals. You know that they also kind of participated mainly in some small time crime, a little bit of extortion and things like that. But one of the key things that kind of was their modus operandi was they were looking for exposing the secrets of the king. And they kind of believed that in bleeding out the king, or in bleeding out those who supported the king, they'd find the answers that they were looking for.
Do I know what was on the shipment, or will I have to ask?
I would say you are keenly aware of what that is already. You know what it is.
Okay. Is it fair to say that I know that it was what was previously described?
You would yes, you would know that is what was previously described. Absolutely.
Have you found any evidence? Do you know where they may have gone?
there's an overturned boat out on the coastline north of Bright Shore. Degenerates of all kind go there. They were last seen going that direction. They're probably looking to head out of the city because it's right by the city gate. It's right by the northern gates. They're probably going to try and make a break for it after they've rested it for a bit.
How long?
This is probably about maybe an hour.
Would he, based on that time, did he come straight here or did he dilly-dally first?
Go ahead and make a sense motive check.
I guess I would be making that based on the logistics of the area, so I would argue probably a knowledge local.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with that completely. Yeah.
I am so sorry to ask this, Cameron. Truly, I hate that I have to ask this, but can I actually have slain all of those people instead? Just thinking about it, I think I made my decision a little too rash. I think that I would not have let any of them live.
You don't think you would have? Okay.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're just fine.
I would have killed everyone in the whole theater.
Could I actually set off that nuke that I had earlier from my backstory and just demolish the city?
Hey, don't make fun of Parley.
I deserve this. Do you want me to explain my reasoning?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because since I was on the spot, I was not wanting to sit there and think for a while, so I kind of made my decision a little bit impulsively. But after seeing that man was willing to murder me, and like you said, the greed in his eyes, as I had just told him what this does and how potentially dangerous that this could be. I don't want somebody like that to be able to carry that knowledge anywhere else. I mean, obviously, there's other people that know what this can do, but I mean, his knowledge spoke to, that at least commonly it certainly isn't known, and that really somebody that was more experienced in weaving like me was able to decipher that. And I think that information is far too important for people like this to have. So I think that really the smart move would be to get rid of all of them. Sorry to interrupt your scene, Taggart.
Sort of relevant, though.
So go ahead and continue, Saana. So, what was your knowledge local check? It was
23.
23.
Yep.
Based on where he had been and kind of where he'd gone, you get the sense that it was probably right at, it probably took him about an hour.
Okay. That
it doesn't probably take down really much.
Okay. Have you sent anyone to investigate the ship?
Not yet. I believe that there was an agent who was dispatched, but not by myself.
By who?
Because the clasp sent someone. And because of the kingly nature of this, I wanted to send another, just in case.
Send someone else, but give instruction that they are to wait 20 minutes before they approach from the time that you contact them. I don't want any misunderstandings.
Yeah.
I don't want any unnecessary clashing.
We don't. He kind of bows a bit and walks away. And as he walks...
this is all being done under cover of darkness, right? There's a darkness... Mm-hmm. I presume it's a darkness spell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on. One more thing.
Of course.
As he turns, I want to use sense motive on him again, but this time I'd like to use my special ability and attempt to discern his surface thoughts.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. He has to make a bluff check against a 4, so...
Okay.
Let's see how lucky I get.
Not very lucky.
Okay.
He actually rolled a natural 20. Which, I mean, in all honesty, someone of his stature, it
Sure.
makes sense. And you kind of get the sense that he probably has had either some training or, there's almost a sense of respect that when you try to kind of push in,
Well, and it's
you don't.
and for clarity, it's not a magical effect. It's me just studying him. He turns, and I've been studying him and looking at him for the last couple minutes of conversation, and I'm just kind of taking the opportunity to see if there's any more that I can glean.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and I would say that that my statement still stands.
Sure.
It's more of a sentiment of, you have a fair amount of respect for someone who can hide, his thoughts and his intents fairly well.
I have one more question for you. And what was his name again?
Sean.
Sean. I have one more question for you, Sean. Do you understand the importance of what was being carried?
I do.
Maintain appropriate discretion.
Absolutely.
That is all.
He walks away, and as he walks away, you see him kind of dip into the shadows, and his body almost melts with it a bit. And you walk back into your chambers.
I'm actually going to make a perception check. How well can I hear him as he's walking?
Yeah, go ahead and make your perception check. Well, I do a stealth
25.
check. Okay. As he leaves, you don't hear a thing.
Okay.
And as you re-enter, you see you see a note left on your table.
Is the door still open with the other guy who originally came to get me there?
No. The guy who came and got you was Sean.
Oh,
essentially.
was Sean? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, just with the shadow, he changed appearance.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, door closed. What does the note say?
I will send you what that says.
Okay. I am also going to make a perception check. Are there any windows open, or can I tell where this may have come from?
Mm-hmm. You notice that the window is open, and you notice actually there's a piece where it looks like it was imperceptibly broken, probably while you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
But as you look at it, it's not a sense of what's the word, of invasion.
Sure.
Or even
it's
a sense.
The note inside.
Yeah, you get the note, and I would even say there's more of a sense of annoyance from it until you read it, and then I'll send you what it actually says later. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That being said, finally we get to Kyle, get to Aiden. Kyle, real quickly, you'd asked if you said we could do it next week. I'm cool with doing it next week.
I changed my mind on that after Taggart's thing because of reasons that I think you already understand. I didn't want it to seem as though I think you understand.
Yep.
So, but I will send you my reasoning. I already had it written up for why I want.
Okay.
And that's the reason why. And I still want to do that. Because I didn't realize, I just thought of that. I didn't know if you can. Is that something that is possible to come up with, what I just wrote?
I think there's something that we can play with. I still think we can do your introduction, and then we can play with it a little bit later this week. So,
all
right, Aiden.
Yes.
As you approach, you're cold and wet. You waited the time that was requested. And now you have your duty. you know exactly what you need to do. And with very careful, deliberate movements, you make your way to a boat moored north of Brightshore. As you arrive, scene that plays out in front of you, you see that there is a fire that's been tipped over. You see 3 people who have been quickly and efficiently killed. Make a perception check for me, please.
Glad that I spoke up.
Oh yeah. This is where this was going the whole time. I did everyone's order in a very specific way.
Sorry again about that.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it. But I told Tiger this, and I didn't tell everyone else, and maybe I should have. But my intent was, what you do now is going to affect the story in many different ways. And so the people you kill, the people you let go, the people that some of the actions that you're taking are going to have some impacts. So yeah, it's going to change a little bit of how things go down right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Wait,
All right, your perception check was 15. Okay.
Should I give the description of what I look like?
Yes, actually, as you're looking around and as you're kind of peering around and with expert precision, looking at these bodies, go ahead and describe yourself, please.
Okay, I'm going to do pictures, but if anyone, I'm sorry to bring up Game of Thrones again, but if anyone's seen Game of Thrones, I look like Ramsay. If anyone knows who Ramsay looks like. But
No.
that's a picture of Ramsay. To give you more pictures of Ramsay, he's like... There he is. Dark
isn't he
hair.
like a horrible person?
Yes, he is.
So he's maybe a little horrible.
I have a request.
Dominic,
if you're
why?
going to put pictures, if you're going to download pictures for it, can you go to the
But
full-size
he looks
picture
like
before
Ramsay,
you
but
download it?
relatively ordinary, normal human, wearing a cloak. Yeah.
I have a request really quick.
Mhm.
What?
If you're going to put pictures on there, could you download the full-size version of the picture instead of just the Google Images one? Because they are so small, and then you click on them to enlarge, and it gives you the same size.
Mine doesn't look grainy on mine, which is
no,
weird.
it's not grainy. It's just small.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
I swear it actually
You
makes
could-
it smaller.
Yes, it definitely feels like it makes it smaller.
all right. Well, if you want to see what he looks like, just type in Ramsay Bolton into Google.
I could.
I don't have a problem.
Also,
I'm good.
yeah, no.
Ramsay Bolton and you've got it.
Between Randy Bolton into Google. Sorry, go
If
ahead.
you need big... Well, there's a reason. There's reasons for
was
everything.
Roasting you.
Are you a terrible person too?
No, I mean, it depends on your
You
definition of
hesitated.
terrible.
I don't believe you.
It depends on your definition of... I would say...
We can't already roast him. Let's wait until his character intro is over, and then we'll roast
Yeah.
him like we did
I
Marley.
think there are more relevant things to the character than his disposition, okay? But let's continue.
All right. So, and go ahead. So, are you gonna give any more description than just the picture?
Oh, he's... I would say that he looks... Give me, 10 seconds. I would say that he looks decently attractive. He looks well kept. like he's probably been highly educated his entire life. He looks almost like a noble. I guess Ramsay Bolton looks like a noble to some extent, almost like he's, at least at the moment, tried to look noble, not at this particular moment, but in general in his life. But other than that, he looks like an ordinary human.
Okay, perfect. So, as you look around, a couple things stick out to you. The first is you're drawn to the boots of two of the dead, of these dead bloodletters. The boots have been inexorably woven into the ground.
Would I I heard a bag of chips. It wouldn't be. Can I do a knowledge check to, or would I do a weaving check?
I would say your understanding of weaving, you already know what this is.
Okay.
But what specifically are you wanting to do with the weaving check or with the
Well,
knowledge
I
check?
want to know how long ago this happened. Like, to
Oh,
what degree can I see how long ago someone came and did this?
Okay. I'll let you either do a craft check or this would be a knowledge arcana.
I'll do the craft check.
Okay. Okay, nice. As you're looking at it, and you understand weaving very well, as you place your hands, there's almost an audible hum to the ground still. Eventually, think of weaving still, to some extent like forging. And even though there's no heat associated, there's, it's perfectly safe to handle something that's been recently woven. Those who are trained weavers know that it takes probably about a day and a half for weaving to kind of settle into its new form, to really take it in. And as you place your hands, you feel that audible hum. The what it was done here happened recently. Happened very recently. Probably within the last 2 hours or so.
Okay, and I guess I will look at the boat to get some general sense of. It's nighttime right now. I'm guessing.
It's getting it's now past midnight. I would say it's probably it's late.
So-
It is probably about 2 a.m.
So it's dark.
It's pitch black. Yeah.
All right. Well, I am going to look at the boat. Is there any other things that catch my eye in the immediate area?
Mm-hmm. As you're looking around, you realize something. As you look down in the pocket of one of the two men who were woven to the ground, you noticed a small vial sticking out.
All right. Do I have any idea of what this file is just off the, just by glancing at it? Do I get what sort of knowledge check would I have to do?
I would say this would be a knowledge arcana check. I would say you could do a weaving check, but I would say to some extent it might be at probably -5, partially because it is the material it's currently kept in.
Okay, well, I mean, I just want to know if it's safe to touch and pick up.
Based on You don't have any reason to. You wouldn't have any reason to think that it's not safe.
Okay, well, I'll pick it up and examine it then.
Okay.
Um,
As you pick it up, it's probably about finger length. You kind of twirl it around. You haven't seen something like this before. In your work amongst those that you work with, you primarily have been in the kind of business of keeping secrets rather than, discovering them. And you're on the verge right now of, this is a secret. You know that to some extent you shouldn't touch this. Not in the sense of it's not safe to handle, but you know that there have been people who didn't abide by the code.
okay.
They didn't live. But now it's in your hand. There's curiosity there.
Well, I am going to do a sleight of hand check to stick it into my cloak pocket, a hidden cloak pocket.
Okay.
It gives us a +5 for this, so it would be a 21.
Yeah, easy enough. You. Oh, good.
I am going to approach the boat because it seems like whoever did this is probably may even still be on the boat. I'm gonna walk as close to the boat. Is there like a ramp to get to the boat, or is it like docked, or how is that set up?
So let me show you the picture again. So essentially,
is it on here? Hold on. Oh, never mind. I don't see it.
I'm bringing up the picture again real quickly. So essentially, it is. Give me a second. Give me 2 seconds, Parley.
Not Parley.
Give me 17 seconds.
All right. Sorry. Stop being stupid. No, you're just fine. My computer is just being stupid and.
Just share the picture instead of the thing. It'll probably.
Well, so here's the thing. Picture is really stupid and is also really small.
And he feels bad because someone criticized people for having small pictures.
It's not the size of the picture, okay? It's how you use it.
That's true. Beat me to it. It's not the size of the boat; it's the motion of the ocean.
So, if you can see on the picture, essentially, it is moored. Half of the well, why did you do that? Half of it is in the water, and it is kind of slanted up. So
part of you described. I remember now. It's like halfway on shore.
Exactly. So okay. I would say you're already on the boat, essentially.
Okay. Do I hear? I'm going to stealth. Do I need to make the check? Since I don't know if there's anyone around. I just want to preemptively stealth.
Yeah.
43.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're all good.
Okay. I also want to see if do I hear any, I have dark vision up to 60 feet. I'm guessing there are no lit torches around or anything.
Nope. It is very dark right now.
I'm going to look around before I go into the boat to get any signs of anyone in here.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me, please.
17.
Okay. So you look around, you look around for a good while, and then you start hearing what sounds like sobbing. And you go
Solid.
around, and you see huddled inside one of the cabins is a little girl. Her hair is perfect. She's probably 8, 9. You notice that her clothes are really, really regal. As you approach, you know who this is. This is the king's daughter. His real daughter. What do you do?
I don't know. Actually, give me a second. All right. I am not going to just pop up out of stealth next to this girl. I am going to. Is she like in a room inside this ship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's inside. She's
A
inside
cabin?
one of the cabins, and you can tell that she's hiding and not very well, and she can't stop from sobbing.
As I was walking through the ship, did I notice any reason why she might be sobbing? Like, is there a sign of struggle or fight or anything like that?
Nothing there. No.
Okay. Well, I will come out before I walk into the room. I will come out of stealth.
Okay.
And I will walk into the room slowly, as if not like like just at a rather slow walking pace, as to give the impression that like I'm not really walking in here with intent. Like, I know she's there. I'm kind of just walking in the
Looking around.
room.
Okay.
You
Go ahead.
and I'll ask, is there anyone in here?
You hear her stop. You can tell she's holding. And 3 full seconds go by. And finally, she looks out. Says, please, don't kill me like the others. I don't know what happened. Somebody came, dark like shadow, and just, they talked and I couldn't hear it, and before I knew it, they're dead. Sorry, I don't tell Papa. She looks at you, this eye pleading both in fear and she doesn't know. Well, actually, you have your garb on, correct?
Yes.
She doesn't recognize you, but she recognizes what you're wearing and says, can you keep a secret? Don't tell him I'm here. Don't tell him I ran away.
I will. Do I know anything? You said, I'm sorry, a little bit out of character to catch me up. You said the king is not dead. as of yet, right?
This is all taking place a week before the king's death.
Okay.
This is the prologue, and also the
Okay.
character introduction.
Okay.
Sorry, it might
Sorry,
be a
no,
little
no,
bit
no, no.
long-winded.
It's fine. I'm just trying to think of. I wasn't expecting this. I'm trying to think of what, considering things, what I would say. Um,
That's the whole point of this. I wanted to put a lot of people on the back foot and have them act
okay.
in the moment, and that's okay.
I will. I will tell her. Secrets are my job. But is there a reason why you've run away from your father and you're in this boat?
He reaches up and whispers in your ear. And I'm going to send you what she whispers to you.
Okay.
Hey, that's what she says to you.
Why did you think to look here? And how are you here? And also, when I came into this boat, I didn't see any signs of anyone or any struggle. So I'm not quite sure what you're hiding from. So
She looks at you and says, "This is a place where people keep. I put secret things, and I thought it might be here."
I am going to read her surface thoughts,
Okay.
and it would be a 13.
DC 13.
No, it would be 13 against her bluff.
Oh,
She
okay.
has to roll a bluff.
So
Taggart.
The knowing smile.
I had no idea. And when you
this is going to be a really fun game, guys. This
it's
is
gonna be weird.
I am having immense amounts of fun here.
Huh? What, I don't even get. Why are you
If you know, you know.
making the roll? I suppose I don't.
I'm sorry. Well, at the end of the game, we can have a debrief where everyone talks about their secrets and what happened and, all the fun things. So
Okay, so did she beat my 13?
she got natural 15.
Oh. Okay.
So without her bluff, she got a natural 15. So yeah, she absolutely beat it.
Okay.
That's the problem with that.
Yes, it is. It is a massive minus.
Yes.
So you're not sure, but based on what on what's going on, I'd say the surface thoughts that you get are just repeated, like just a sheer amount of like mixtures of terror and relief, and I would say it's nothing that you don't expect, if that makes sense. A lot of it is just, someone I trust is here, and you would get the vague sense that the reason why she's freaked out is because she, at least what you can maybe piece together, or at least what it seems like, is that she came here looking before the bloodletters got here, hid, and then witnessed them get killed and was really shaken up by that.
Oh, that is weird. I will. I'm going to tell her. Okay. I need you to go back to your hiding spot for just 1 second, and I will be right back. And I will turn around and go into the cabin, and I am going to take a 20 on a perception check on this cabin.
Okay. So just
It
so
would be
you
a 30.
okay, just so you're aware, and I'm totally fine with you doing this. And this is a good time to bring it up. Generally, taking a 20 means you give up time for getting that 20, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, how much time would I be giving up for? figured it wouldn't take that long to do a 20 on a boat, but if it's a long time, then I might reconsider.
I would say taking a 20 is probably going to be taking about half. In my mind, it takes about half an hour to an hour.
Okay. How about taking actually, you know what? I'll just roll it. Roll it.
And like I said, I'm okay with you taking it. And
no, I don't want to take 30 minutes while she's waiting. I didn't know it was going to take that long. So I will just...
Natural 20.
16, it's still high.
Yeah, still really high. As you're looking around and just going through different places and things, nothing stands out except briefly. It's almost as if it's more of a memory of something than anything else. There's a faint whiff of flowers. It seems vaguely... It doesn't fit. But as soon as it comes, it's gone. That's the only thing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Well, I will walk back into the cabin slowly as not to alarm her. You can come out now. It seems as though all of the danger that you have been so scared of has gone, or I'm actually... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around. I'm not saying that in character. Anyways, what I'll say is that I think the danger is gone. If you come with me, we will try to get you back to your father. I will not tell him that you ran away. But I may have to talk to him about the reason why I found you here. I don't want you to be alarmed because I think your father will understand, given the circumstances. But for the most part, I think I can keep your secret.
It would make a sense motive check.
Okay.
Awesome. She, as you say that, she has confidence in that you are wanting to do the best for her. But as soon as you bring up that you are going to talk to her father about why she was here, you just see this almost dark ominous sense of like just foreboding from her. It's not just fear, it's terror.
There's no reason to be afraid. I am not going to hurt you unless you're scared of your father. Is that the case?
She nods, just faintly.
All right, then. Well, if you don't want me to take you to your father,
You can take me home. Just don't tell him why.
then what shall I tell your father? He's going to wonder where you've been and why. And I'm not sure I know your father well enough to give him a convincing story as to why you've been missing.
She looks out the door of the cabin. She says, Maybe I was kidnapped. And the Grey Cloaks were dispatched to save me. You came to save me. You killed them to protect me.
Well, ordinarily, I'm not in the business of killing. And I'm also not in the business of lying to the king. But considering the circumstances, actually, I want to make a knowledge check on what she told me.
Okay.
I want to know how much I know about that.
Okay, go ahead and make a knowledge local check, please. As far as you know, the king is a private person, and he's very protective of his family. You'd also know that his daughter generally isn't seen outside the castle frequently. It's, in fact, really rare. The fact that you're seeing her out here is, almost as much a surprise as, her talking about the situation. To some extent, part of the reason why you're employed is to protect his privacy, to some extent. And so, as far as the public knows, and really as far as you know to some extent, things are happy.
But I would have known about her my entire life, presumably, right?
You would have known. You've known about her existence, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
People know about them, but people don't know a lot of intimate details.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll just finish what I was saying. That given the circumstances, I think we can do this. But you have to keep my secret as much as I keep yours. The king does not need to know that someone who works for him is lying to him and keeping secrets that are not his. So, in his stead, I will just look at you as an extension of your father for now. And you have to keep my secret as well.
What's your secret?
My secret is that I'm lying to him.
Oh. She kind of laughs a bit and visibly relaxes. And as you take her home, you get her back to her bedroom. And you report back to your superiors. 1 week later, you're inside the 5th tower. There's a tavern inside the 6 Towers district. The king has just been killed. And earlier in the evening, there was an attack on the Alabaster Sanatorium. So far, there's been 23 people confirmed dead. And more are being pulled out of the wreckage. As all of you come into the tavern, you see the innkeep is standing behind the bar. The entire bar has been vacated except for yourselves and a few choice other people. He brings down chairs and tables. He's able to kind of cobble together a sitting place for everyone. Starts pouring people drinks. As all of you assemble and sit at the table, locks the door. Among you are a couple of other people. One of them is a gray cloak, some of you are aware of. His name is Sean. You also see a fair-haired woman. She's got blonde hair, fair skin. Her hair is kind of cut short a bit. You know this woman to be a representative of the Weavers. You also see that there is kind of an elderly figure. He's got deep tanned, almost leathery like skin. Most of his face has been kind of the hair's been removed, mostly because of what looks to be burns of some sort. On one of his hands, he has a very long glove that kind of goes up his arm. And the rest of you sit down, and you recognize this man as he's one of the followers of the Circle of the Flame. And as all of you sit around the table,
I'll actually be standing near the table.
You're gonna be standing?
I won't take a seat.
okay. What are the rest of you doing as you gather inside the tavern?
Sitting very comfortably, anticipating the smoothness, but also the sting of the it's about to go down my throat.
Request water only from the barkeep.
Okay.
I will probably be sitting by myself, or maybe leaning up against a wall that doesn't look too weird to be leaning against.
Okay.
I'll ask for the cheapest bottle of wine.
He brings out something. The barkeep kind of, after he sees everyone's got their drinks, he kind of sees the purpose of what's going on here, and he kind of sits back and he says, "If you need me, I'll be in the basement. All right." Kind of looks around, goes back.
We'll come and get you when we're done.
Okay. As the 9 of you stand around. There's a sense of foreboding, sense of who should ask, talk, who should, what do we do?
Who's the ranking member in the room?
In this area, it would be either yourself or the leather-faced man, who you would recognize, or who you recognize, and I would say have at least a professional respect for. You would know him. You would know him as the representative of the Circle of the Flame in the area, and you'd know him as Eason.
And real quick, what do we know of the king's death?
You would know
upon entering into this room.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
You would know that someone went into his home early in the evening, killed him, and, to at least everyone's understanding, kidnapped his daughter.
Do we know all of this? Everybody in the room know all of this? Is there someone who wouldn't?
I would say that the rumor spread real quickly.
Do we have any confirmation as to who was behind the attack?
You see Sean sit up. There isn't any really the only confirmation that we have is one of the Grey Cloaks that I'm at least friends with still made me aware that he saw the king's body, so we at least know the king is dead.
Was anyone else killed at the king's quarters?
3 other cloaks.
3 only? Was that all that was there to guard the king?
Well, seeing as the Grey Cloaks generally have only had 9 members, we generally don't keep that many. And so...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, that's all there was.
And the method in which they were killed, was it magic? Was it steel?
From what I know, there's a bit of both. Someone wove him into the very bed by which he sat, and then slowly put a dagger into his heart.
They knew him. This was far more personal than anything else. Of course, a king, it was not an accident, but a dagger to the heart, slowly. This person, whoever they were, this was personal.
Yes.
Who is the Weaver representative?
I had realized that technically you are the Weaver representative on the council. So, let's go ahead and...
That's why I was a little confused.
Yep, you're right. I realized that as soon as I said, spoke about her, so I'm gonna just... Whoop! She fell into a plot hole. You're the Weaver representative.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
I have like 6 people's storylines kind of converging in my head, so I apologize.
And I also gave you like a massive info dump too, so that didn't help.
I got like
as
3
he
people's backstories today.
as he mentions the weaving, Rand would look down and put his hands on his chin and have a very concerned and pensive look.
How much skill is necessary to perform a feat such as this, Rand? To weave the whole body to the bed. Especially before they can react.
certainly somebody talented. To do it this quickly and to weave unwilling flesh, it would take a master.
You also know that the king was skilled at weaving as well. And whenever you're weaving against someone who already knows how to, there's an added level of difficulty. So you'd know that as well, Rand.
Okay. Then I would add an addendum to that, and I would say it would have to be of somebody of extraordinary skill.
Real quick, I know we got the descriptions before, but could you give us a very quick summary of what is known commonly about each member of the council, or of the people here in this room?
I will do one better. Why doesn't everyone go around and share a little bit about what probably would be commonly known about each of you?
Perfect.
Let's start off with. We'll start in the same order that we went in. So we'll start off with you, Octavius.
Octavius Artaud. Yes. Beloved playwright, at least beloved in this beautiful city, and I've said in interviews time and time again that my most beloved, cherished member of the audience was His Royal Majesty himself, and you might know me for my debut work, The Virtuous Woman, but I've been in this business for years, and I've firmly established myself amongst the other noble, elegant city playwrights. But alas, this is a time of mourning for me, of course. To lose someone with such good taste as the king himself.
And then let's go with Iona. No, not Iona. I apologize. Dominique.
Well, I actually don't think most people would know much about me. I might be someone some people have seen in passing, and you might assume I'm involved in some business or something. But kind of keep my stuff under wraps, so I would not be well known. But you probably see me around.
Okay. And then Iona.
You would know that I am I am the police chief for the Ivory Soul, which is the city police.
Mm-hmm.
And you would know that I can weave, and let's see, that's about it.
Okay, perfect. What about yourself, Rand?
So I am the Weaver representative on the council, so primarily my focus is the Weavers, their business, what's going on. You would also know about Rand that he comes from a prestigious weaving family, the Silverbloods. They've been around since pretty much the city's founding, and they've always been prominent members of that. That's what you'd know pretty much like as a council member, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then what about yourself, Sa'ana?
I have been the head diplomat of the city for the last 2 years. I've been a notable person somewhere in the politics of the city for the last decade or two, and I am known, at least among the circle, for my efforts in diffusing certain potential revolutions that have tried to take place, though not on the scale of what is going on here.
Okay.
I'm one for words.
And then last, what about yourself, Aiden?
Okay, well, quick out of character question. When you first said this, I thought we were giving what people would know about us without talking about it, but then when people started doing it, they started talking to each other as though they were explaining where they came from. Am I to understand that you guys were and telling people who you were? Or was
No,
just,
this
Not
is-
me.
just
This
what we
is
would
an
know?
aside.
That was
to-
not in character.
Oh, okay,
This is
good.
something
I just
I was
did
saying
mine in
you would know
character.
about Rand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was saying it I was saying it as if it were in character, but not actually in character. It was just to make it more like flavorful, I suppose.
He's some weird stuff.
well,
like Rand's like, what? Why are you guys saying all this?
Well, hold on. I need to ask Mr. DM
Yeah.
a quick question before I say anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you need to go into a different chat?
No, I was just gonna message you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that works.
Okay. None of you would know me at all. You may have heard the name Aiden Laxer at some point, as just a maybe someone who works for the Grey Cloaks. You might actually know something about my character, but you don't know that is who he is. I will put it like that. Like, you might have heard rumors about Aiden Laxer. Maybe. But in general, you probably don't know who he is. He hasn't been very public at all.
And that's pretty common for most Grey Cloaks. Most Grey Cloaks, to some extent, think of them almost like the CIA of the city. You have the Ivory Soul, which is essentially the City Watch. But when anything kind of crosses a line of kingly nature, the Grey Cloaks usually take over, either act in part in tandem with the Ivory Soul to investigate it, and they'll usually send one member, maybe, or they'll take over the investigation completely and just remove the Ivory Soul as a factor. So generally, most Grey Cloaks have a great amount of authority within the city because of their assumed authority because of the king, and if anything is essentially that they're involved in, it usually means that it is the king's business.
So, yeah, you wouldn't know all that much. Especially about... Yeah, you wouldn't know that much. You probably even know less than you would about the average Grey Cloak that you do know about. I will say that.
So now we have our introductions. We have 8 people at the table, one representing each faction, one representing our police force. What are you guys gonna do? What are you? There were some discussions of from Savannah. What does everyone say? What does everyone do?
Well, the last thing that was spoken was Rand mentioning kind of the to Sana saying the weaving that would need to happen and they need to be quite skilled and such.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to respond to that to pick up from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, because do I know that he's the representative? Well, I do know that you're the representative of the Weavers, right?
Yes, you would.
yes.
Okay, I want to do a sense motive because he is acting like he has no idea. And I would be very suspicious of that. So I'm going to sense motive 31 to see whether or not I think he's being genuine about not knowing anything about what's going on.
Okay.
He doesn't make any attempt to hide it. I would say that you would get my exact description. He looks very worried and pensive as he looks down and touches his chin, deep in thought.
Okay. Because that would probably... I don't know. I'm guessing the Weavers would probably have the best Weavers around. Is that correct? I don't know much about this world, but...
That would be a safe assumption.
Yeah, that would be a safe assumption.
I know my
So,
place.
okay.
There might be the periodic savant, but I'd say as a whole that's rare. Usually, it takes a fair amount of work for someone to learn it, and savants are extraordinarily rare.
So I just, out of character, I need to have some idea of what my character would generally know about the Weavers. I'm guessing, are they like a college of skilled craftsmen? Are they like typically like a secret organization? Or like, is it common for people to get that skilled without joining the Weavers? I know you said there's the occasional savant.
So, in general, think of them. I think a college is a really good approximation. They train people. They try to find people who have some aptitude for weaving. There's a fair amount of family influence that goes into that as well. The primary way that they kind of get their money and the primary way that they have so much influence is they are also to some extent merchants as well. They make incredible feats of both technology as well as just incredible material things that they're able to sell to other countries. That's part of the reason why Lindorn is such a hub of trade and commercial is because of the Weavers. So they have a decent amount of status that people from around the world or want to come and test and try to become part of them. And I would say they're decently exclusive to some extent. People have to try to get into the Weavers if they don't actually have any aptitude. But there are people outside who can learn it and have learned it.
Okay, my second question would be, are they affiliated with the state in any way? Are they state endorsed?
I would say yes and no. There is, I would say that the king wholly endorsed them and protected them, but there was a lot of, especially recently, there is a lot of unrest in regards to them, just because of some rumors that came out about some of their activities that may not have been wholly above board. There have been several rumors that have come out just about some of their experiments that seemed a bit inhumane.
That's general knowledge? You're talking general knowledge right now, right?
I would say general knowledge, but I would say it's been diluted enough by the king as well as the Grey Cloaks, where most people probably don't believe it. They just think it's just rumors. But there are some pretty heavy zealots that are like, no, these people are terrible. They're doing terrible things to us and our children. We don't realize it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry to railroad that. I just needed some context for me to look at how I look at Rain. But, okay. I'm not saying anything. I was just doing a sense motive. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I'm going to respond to Rand. No, I'm kidding.
No, you can go ahead. I think that's a
I know. I was just being pretentious.
Respond, fella.
So, thank you, my good Weaver, for enlightening us on the technical aspect of all this, but may I indulge all of you in the matters of the heart, being the writer that I am.
Speak.
Let me speculate.
Look it quickly.
And after taking a brief sip of his wine, he says, "The thing is, we speak of this matter, this death of our beloved Majesty, as a swift, in the moment, in the heat of passion thing, like a husband murdering his wife in cold blood when he learns of her traitorous heart. But the king, well, sure, only 9 men, but 9 of the most strapping men on this continent guarding him. I doubt that someone would have the opportunity to do something like that, to murder him in the heat of passion. No, this is something not just deliberate, but something very much planned, timed, and for a purpose beyond killing His Majesty. I dare say this is something. Well, let me go back a bit. Not that the intent or the desired result was the death of His Majesty, but what would come after his death. They desired something, wealth, power, glory, something along those lines, hoping that the death of His Majesty would be a means to that end. I dare say we are in quite the mystery, aren't we?
Well, I don't think right now is the time to speculate, but I would agree with you that this does seem planned.
Eason.
Was there anything... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to... Eason pipes up, and he says, before you all point fingers, not all of us at the Circle of the Flame hate the Weavers. In fact, I'm quite fond of Rand myself. That being said, I don't think that it is wise to discount the attack on the sanatorium this evening and the death of the king as separate events.
Now, real quick, I'm trying to remember, what is the sanatorium?
So, the Alabaster Sanatorium, you would know, is a place of human research in regards to weaving.
Okay.
The sanatorium, to some extent, is where the best weavers will go, and they generally study specifically the binding of not just of people, but binding of the soul. So they delve deep into people's souls, what makes them fear, what makes them courageous, and play with that. Now, that being said, a lot of what has come out of it, a lot of people who have seen some of these things, there's been some miraculous things that have happened. There have been people who have had irreparable mental or even physical disorders been healed at this location. So this is also the seat of some of the biggest and greatest concern, especially amongst the zealots who wish to take down the Alabaster Sanatorium as well as the Weavers themselves.
So, Eason, you're suggesting that not only did the attackers utilize weaving, but that the attack was not only intended to destroy the king, but the weavers as well.
It's the only thing I can think of that makes sense. It's true. The events happen too close to each other.
I look to Rand. Does your organization have any enemies who make use of your particular talents? Perhaps someone from outside of the city or even the country?
None that particularly spring to mind that dislike us other than the Circle. And speaking of them, was anything... Actually, I suppose I should ask you, Cameron. Do I know from the attack and that, was anything taken from the sanitarium?
No. It sounds as if the majority of the attack on the Sanitarium, or at least the reports that you've gotten, have been scorched earth. It's been trying to burn it down and really cause as much destruction as possible.
And is that still going on now?
It is actually still going on right now, but due to the unrest as well as the riots that are going on, to some extent, it is one of those things that it is an extremely volatile part of town right now, where specifically the Ivory Soul has quarantined it off, has even quarantined the entire district off. So they're trying to resolve the situation, but we have Weavers and several of the members of the Circle of Flame who are trying to take it down.
John, of your motivated members, I'll say, don't you have any pull with them? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the absolute last thing that the city needs right now.
I couldn't agree more. But, unfortunately, my voice, although one of reason, has been continually drowned out by some other voices.
Are you so
We're
unpopular among your organization?
Kind of sits back. And he says, he kind of gets a little bit emotional about something. Go ahead and make a sense motive check for me. And I would say you could even potentially seek to look at surface thoughts. And I'd say you get maybe a +5 to the roll as well.
Oh,
22
sorry.
total. If you're going for the surface thoughts, it's 2.
Beautiful.
Well, he said a +5 circumstance bonus, so it would be a 7.
No, that's with the +5.
Oh, it is?
I rolled a 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at... I'm sorry, I don't... Yeah, okay, never mind.
I didn't already... Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when you reach, you kind of when you try to kind of detect his surface thoughts, there's just an immense fury there, but it's not anger at. You get the sense that this isn't anger at at anyone here, or even at the Weavers of the situation. It's anger specifically at the Circle of the Flame. And he says, I don't think this is a matter of a discussion of... It's a religious matter, honestly.
They have you here to keep you out of the way. To keep you occupied and away from their affairs.
Partially.
Hmm.
Might be more than that. But
My
that's part of it.
In light of recent events, I don't think that they're going to stop until the sanitarium's destroyed.
There are people in the sanitarium who are helpless, who are innocents. And yes, these people are going to be murdering innocents. Doesn't matter what those Weavers are doing in there. They're murdering. Those people are going to be murdering innocents. Because not all of them are Weavers. And not all of them know what they're doing.
I think this is where we should head first. This seems to be where the tension is the highest. And the amount of research and knowledge that the sanitarium causes, if that was destroyed, there's a lot of good that would be undone.
Why? I have a... Does anyone know why anyone would kidnap the king's daughter? Octavius?
She's next in line to the throne.
Precisely.
She's an
I can think
obvious
of about
target.
100 reasons.
Let's also not dilly-dally around some of the facts here. We all think it. We all know it. There's 1,000 bastards out there. The king's eyes wandered. And if we're talking about the throne, if we're considering that to be a possibility, yeah, his little girl's the next in line. But there are probably, 10, 20, 30 other children out there that could claim that throne. They want it. She might be dead by now. I don't know. Get her out of the way. Sorry.
If she's not dead, whoever has her probably will try to manipulate her.
Perhaps with the use of weaving as well.
It would be foolish to kill her.
I hope you're not wrong. So, is that what we do? We go to the sanitarium first?
Do we have any leads on where the king's daughter could be?
Sean. Pipes up.
He,
Oh, good. Yeah.
I know of a place where if she were not abducted, if she were to have escaped during the commotion of the king being woven to his bed, there might be a place where she might have ran to. A place that she goes to when she's scared or looking for answers. That might be a place we can look to check to see if she has maybe run away.
Okay, well I suppose that would be easy enough to check that real quick on our way to the sanitarium. Worst case, we check that off our list.
I think we should at least check.
Okay. Let's go ahead and pause here for tonight because it's getting a little bit late and I'm getting tired. But
Yeah, it seems
we'll go ahead and pick this up next time. Feel free, all of you, to discuss things in the chat, in person or in character or out, depending on what you want, and make plans if you want to change those things. If you want to plan throughout the week, feel free to.
Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah.
Right,
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope all of you did too. And we'll see you next time.